autoimmuneanswers.com. Hi, everybody. Ralph Havens here, autoimmuneanswers.com. Years ago, many years ago, I'm 59 now. Can't believe my birthday's coming up in May. Years ago, I had a very big secret. I think some people probably knew. In fact, I know some people probably knew, but most people didn't talk about it. But I tried so hard to hide it. And I had this crazy thing. The first time I remember it showing up, it was in the summertime, and I was, I think I was in between 9th and 10th grade in the summer in Wisconsin, sitting on a park bench on a beautiful summer day. And I noticed that my feet had just been sweating and sweating and sweating, and had made a big mark on the picnic table, the wooden picnic table. And I thought, that's weird. And I don't know if it was there before or not, but I started noticing that I had this really crazy sweating problem. Like my hands and feet would just sweat uncontrollably. Sometimes when I was nervous, and I was nervous a lot, I was anxious very much as a kid. And other times just when it was dry weather outside or hot, or if there wasn't wind blowing through a room, or I was just like nervous, and I would get a terrible sweating thing. And as I was growing up, it showed up in all sorts of ways. You know, I didn't have a girlfriend. I didn't want to hold hands. I didn't want to shake hands. Or if I shake hands, I wanted to like wipe my hands off to shake beforehand. But I'm sure people still noticed, you know. And as I went through and became a physical therapist, even though I started my own business, the way I started it was really funny, because one of my mentors, my early mentors, wanted to have me work for him, and I wanted to work for him, and he would be a great mentor. And he said, well, come on over and we'll hang out some, and you can work on my neck, and I can notice your skills, and then we'll get you working here. And I was so terrified to go spend time with my mentor and put my hands on his neck, because it's like, oh my God, I'm going to sweat all over him. I can't do this. And so I said, you know what? I've decided to start my own physical therapy practice. I'm not going to come interview, but thanks a lot. And so I actually started my own physical therapy practice, went out on my own in business, because I was too scared to go put my hands on this guy. And I remember when I was around other practice owners that had big, good physical therapy practices, I would be in meetings with them and, you know, all sorts of events. And I was so terrified. And part of it was just to shake hands. And when I took classes, you know, I took tons of classes, which is wild to think that I put myself out there even with all this fear. I think deep inside I knew that I wanted to fix this, and I made myself have a business and a whole profession where I would be putting my hands on people. Wild, right? I could have just been a computer guy fixing up computers and nobody would have ever known. But there I was taking classes and terrified when it would be time to practice, because whoever was my partner would notice it. And, you know, it was like crazy. Just, you know, most of the time they wouldn't say anything at all, but I could tell, of course, that they knew, and I'd be kept on wiping my hands off and, you know, try to sit next to a room, a window that would a little crack, and I would crack it, and people would then be complaining that it was cold, and they'd all close up the room, and I'd be like, oh my God, man. I wouldn't drink coffee before those days, so that I'd be even more relaxed. And so I ended up once, a few years ago, I've spent $750,000 on my postgraduate training to learn how to help people with chronic conditions and get well. And part of it was, I think I was starting to notice that when I got this deep work done on my own body, energetic work, and also subtle energy work and subtle hands-on work, I would feel much more relaxed. It's funny, when I would first start with a session, like I got lots of sessions from my mentor and lots of sessions from my teachers, and when I would lay on a table, my whole body would just break out in a giant sweat. And then they would change the sheet and then put a new sheet down, and then I would be relaxed and they could work on me. But what happened was I started to find the people that I could trust, you know, just felt safe around, and they were taking classes with me, so they would always be my partners. I would make sure that, I'll be partners with them. But if there's somebody else showed up and they weren't there, I'd be like, oh my God, who's going to be my partner? Let me find some safe person, somebody I think will be safe around, where they won't say it or notice it as much. And but I spent $750,000 on my training so far. It's gone up since then because I checked that about 4 or 5 years ago. And one method alone that helped a lot was 10 years and 110 classes. And then Matrix Energetics was 35 classes or more. I don't even know the count now, over 10 years, over the last 10 years. And then lately there's been other coaches and trainers and healers with all sorts of cool stuff that's added to it. And so along the way, I made my notes and it became a book. It's an ebook right now, End Anxiety Forever, No More Sweaty Hands. And right now, the only way to get it is through my Enlighten Up course as a bonus. But what I decided to do was it came up just this morning. I thought, you know what? I'm going to do a video training series specifically for that. And there'll be lots of free, cool stuff of all the stuff I learned because I can do it much faster now with people because I figured it out for myself. And it's been many years since I had that sweaty hand thing and that anxiety thing. I don't have anxiety anymore. I can be around anybody. I can do anything I want. If anything shows up, I know what to do to clear even that little bit of stuff that's left. But the sweaty hand things went away. And so I thought this would be really cool to get out to people. A lot of information of here's what I found, here's what works. And even if you don't have the sweaty hands things, if you just have the anxiety part, it'll shift things. There's real specific things to do. So I've created a 4-part video series already a couple years ago for autoimmune conditions, but it goes really well to start you down the road to clear anxiety. And if you're dealing with sweaty hands, to clear that. There's going to be a lot more coming. But if you're interested in that, you can go to ralphhavens.com/end anxiety forever. ralphhavens.com/end anxiety forever. And you'll be directed to a 4-part video series. You can watch that and get some really good training and some pre-work before we start this very specific training for ending anxiety forever. And if you're watching this video, whether on Facebook Live or YouTube or listening on a podcast, leave me a comment. Let me know how anxiety is showing up for you. If you have sweaty hands, how it's impacting you, what you don't do because of it, and what it would do for you if you could solve these problems. If you solve a sweaty hand problem where you don't have that anymore, like I did, or clear anxiety, however it's showing up for you, let me know what it would do for you. Because I'm going to be creating a whole bunch of stuff. Every month I do a dedicated week to create stuff. And this is what I'm up to for this month. So this month coming up right now, March. So let me know. Go to ralphhavens.com/end anxiety forever. Grab that. And let's get things fixed up for everybody. All right. Have a great Sunday if you're listening live, and I will see you all soon. Bye now.